and welcome. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. It's Tuesday evening here, February 23, 2021. And as always, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. Michael Hudson reports about Tiger Woods getting severely injured in a car crash. Then we'll head to Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
A Canadian doctor says it may be harder to achieve herd immunity against COVID-19.
EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Virginia, to become first southern state to abolish the death penalty, state also launches new COVID vaccine pre-registration system.
Brian Sonson in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas housing market soars despite continuous struggle with unemployment rate.
Then we'll head to AJ Capistrano in Oxnard, California.
Los Angeles County to build a restorative care village for vulnerable residents.
Julie Ann Simbulan in Lancaster, California.
LA County small businesses and nonprofit organizations eligible to receive free PPE.
And Julianne Fiesta in Delano.
Los Angeles drive-up food distribution has been extended through the end of April.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi reports about FEMA approving 31 additional Texas counties to the president's major disaster declaration, and Texas Governor Abbott announcing the resignation of ERCOT leadership and the state addressing spikes in energy bills. Carlo Valdez in Union Township reports about Governor Murphy delivering fiscal year 2022 budget address, saying it is for every New Jersey family. Jennifer Polentan in Nyack reports about vaccination sites capable of 3,000 doses per day opening on Wednesday in Brooklyn and Queens, New York. Plus, for tonight's virtual roundtable, February 23 is National Banana Bread Day. You know what that means? We'll talk about how we go bananas for banana bread. Our coverage begins now. News of Tiger Woods involved in a major car crash today shook the sports world. The U.S. golfer is considered by many to be the best that has ever played. Michael Hudson has the details of this unfortunate turn of events in the golfer's life.
Thank you. I was hoping to provide some positive news today, but unfortunately today was a dark one as PGA Tour great Tiger Woods was involved in a serious one-car crash in Los Angeles earlier this morning. Authorities do not know how the accident occurred, but Tiger's car rolled over and landed on the side of the road, totaling his vehicle, and he had to be extracted from his car from the jaws of life. Though the police are still investigating the accident, Tiger was rushed to the nearby hospital at Harbor, UCLA. He went into surgery for multiple leg injuries, and we have yet to receive word on his current status. He was in Los Angeles this week for the Genesis Invitational, a tournament that he sponsors every year, and he actually spent some time yesterday playing a light round with comedian David Spade and former NBA great Dwayne Wade. The news is that the good news is that the injuries sustained by Tiger are not to be life-threatening. The PGA Tour's commissioner, Jay Monahan, made an official announcement today, and I quote, "We have been made aware of Tiger Woods' car accident today. We are awaiting further information when he comes out of surgery. On behalf of the PGA Tour and our players, Tiger is in our prayers and will have our full support as he recovers." Now, only time will tell to see how long Tiger Woods will be out as far as playing golf tournaments, but the most important thing is that as of right now, his health remains stable and he can fully recover from his injuries. Michael Hudson reporting, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Now, it's important to note that earlier reports did mention that the jaws of life were used, but at the time of this broadcast, we have just learned that the equipment was not necessary. Reports do say, however, that other equipment was used to pry open the car to get Tiger Woods out. Mount Etna, one of the world's most active volcanoes, belched smoke and ashes in a new eruption on Tuesday, but Italian authorities said it posed no danger to its surrounding villages. Estimating that the eruption came from Etna's southeastern crater began late Tuesday afternoon. Head of the INGV National Institute for Geophysics and Volcanology, Stefano Branco, insisted that the latest burst of activity was not at all worrying. Nevertheless, with small stones and ashes raining down, authorities decided to close Catania's international airport. Images show a spectacular rose-colored plume of ashes above the snow-capped summit, but the cloud had largely dissipated by nightfall, while lava flows continued to glow. At nearly 11,000 feet, Etna is the tallest active volcano in Europe and has erupted frequently in the past 500,000 years. In other news, during a UN Security Council video conference on climate and security with heads of state and government, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says climate change shocks weaken much more than the environment. Take a look.
The climate emergency is the defining issue of our time. The last decade was the hottest in human history. Carbon dioxide levels are at record highs, and wildfires, cyclones, floods, and droughts are the new normal. These shocks not only damage the environment on which we depend, they also weaken our political, economic, and social systems.
Guterres urges council members to mobilize international financial institutions and the private sector to do their part ahead of the 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference in Glasgow in November. The spokesman of the UN Office for Humanitarian Affairs announces that the humanitarian situation in Syria shows a 20% increase this year in the number of people in need due to the country's severe economic downturn in 2020. Take a look.
Some 13.4 million people are estimated to require humanitarian and protection assistance this year, up from 11 million last year. We're back at the same high levels of need that we saw in 2016 and 2017. Segments of the population that were previously less affected have been pushed into the ranks of people requiring humanitarian aid, and for those who already needed it, the situation has gotten worse.
Now, let's take a look at today's COVID-19 update. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, Tuesday, February 23, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 111,890,000. The top three countries on the list with the most recorded cases are the U.S. with more than 28,203,000, India with more than 11,016,000, and Brazil with more than 10,195,000. Sadly, this virus has now already claimed more than 2,478,000 lives worldwide. The countries with the three most number of COVID-19 related deaths are the U.S. with more than 501,000, Brazil with more than 247,000, and Mexico with more than 180,000. Now, for further news on the COVID pandemic tonight, an emotional President Joe Biden calls on the milestone of more than 500,000 U.S. deaths from COVID-19 heartbreaking on Monday and urged the country to unite against the pandemic.
That's more Americans who have died in 1 year in this pandemic than in World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War combined. That's more lives lost to this virus than any other nation on earth. But as we acknowledge the scale of this mass death in America, we remember each person and the life they lived.
Biden asked Americans to mourn and to remember those lost, but also to show determination.
And it seems unbelievable, but I promise you, the day will come when the memory of the loved one you lost will bring a smile to your lips before a tear to your eye. It will come, I promise you. My prayer for you, though, is that day will come sooner rather than later. And that's when you know you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
At a briefing by the White House COVID-19 response team and public health officials, President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor, Anthony Fauci, talks about the COVID variants evolving in the country.
Lost our lives.
That there will be the selecting of a variety of variants. We ourselves in this country are already facing variants that are having impact, such as the UK variant. We have the South African variant in our nation, and we're even having the evolution of variants within our own country.
Starting today on a solemn note, as we're nearing 500,000 Americans.
Director for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Rochelle Walensky, adds that there has likely been excess mortality beyond the 500,000 confirmed deaths from COVID-19 in the United States.
Can even if we were perfectly precise in how we defined COVID-19 early on as we were learning about the disease, and we were accurate in our counting, I think we can sort of understand that there has been excess mortality from this pandemic outside of COVID-19 specifically. So people who delayed in getting medical care, many delayed in coming in.
Now up next, we'll have reports from Edmonton, Alberta, Alexandria, Virginia, and Las Vegas, Nevada. Eagle News America continues. We'll be right back.
Kumanta, sumaya tayong lahat. Saya-saya.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced, not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Aguila Pilipinas, a one-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Tune into Mata ng Aguila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Aguila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science, and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to thank our health outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo coming to you from Atlanta. Canada's chief medical advisor to the country's health department, Dr. Supriya Sharma, says achieving herd immunity may be harder than first thought. Joining us this evening is Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness with the details. Thomas?
Thank you, Philip, and I know that's not the news you wanted to hear, because it was just a few months ago that public health experts were telling us that, well, maybe if we vaccinated 60 to 70% of the population, we'd achieve herd immunity. But now, like you said, Philip, Canada's chief medical advisor to the country's health department says that number may have to be a lot higher. Well, first, let me tell you what herd immunity is. That's the number of people who need to have immunity to protect the people within the herd that do not have the immunity. Now, there's two ways you can get this. One is by having the disease, the other by being vaccinated. And the problem, according to Dr. Sharma, is the virus is mutating. And these variants are much more contagious. They spread through the population much more aggressively. Sharma says because of this, to keep people safe, up to 90% of the population will have to take the vaccine. And that's going to be a bit of a tough sell for governments. Now, of course, the majority of Canadians have indicated they will get immunized, but we break down those numbers a little bit, and we find out that not all of them are willing to do so as soon as the vaccine is available to them. And then there is that element of the population, a small one albeit, but there is that element that refuse to be immunized at all. As I said, some people want to wait a while, perhaps to see how the shot has affected people they know. And then we have the procrastinators. These are people, they're not opposed to the vaccine, but they just never get around to making the arrangements to get the shot. Or if they do get that first dose, will they remember to get the second one in a timely manner? And of course, we're also hoping there'll be enough supplies in the medicine cabinet so that everyone can be inoculated in a timely manner. So, well, I wait for my shot. I wish you all good health. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Thomas. And, you mentioned the mutations or the variants of the coronavirus, and I'm sure the question on many people's minds are, how effective are these vaccines, or as far as we know, against these variants?
Well, when we talk about Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, they appear to be effective so far in protecting people against both the UK and the South African variants. But of course, more research is needed. A couple of things, though, to keep in mind. The manufacturers are already tweaking the biochemistry to target the variants. And scientists tells us that, COVID-19 is not mutating as fast as, well, for example, the ordinary flu virus. So vaccines should not have to be reworked as often. Now, the AstraZeneca inoculant may not be as effective against the new strains, but again, work is being done to retool that shot. And despite that, the AstraZeneca shot could still save lives because it'll reduce the incidence of the infection because it still does protect against the original virus. Philip?
And, it's interesting you brought up the flu there, Thomas, which, as you know, every year, you have to get a booster shot if you want to take the flu shot. Do we know anything about the immunity from these COVID-19 vaccines? Will there be a need for any booster shots?
Well, right now, how long does the immunity last? I'd say that's anybody's guess. This virus is so new, there just hasn't been enough time to study immune response. The best guess by medical people is, yes, booster shots likely will be needed, and that will likely be more of an updated shot to protect against any new variants. Now, think of it like the antivirus software, and I hope you have that on your computer. Think of it like that. Mine is constantly updated to protect my system against new threats. And because it appears COVID doesn't change as rapidly as the regular flu, that vaccine may not have to be updated annually, or at least as often as with influenza. Philip?
Thanks, Thomas, so much for your report tonight. Hope you're staying safe and you're staying well.
Thank you.
Now we'll head to the state of Virginia, where they're to become the first southern state to abolish the death penalty and launching a new COVID vaccination pre-registration system. In Alexandria, EJ Gonzalez has these stories.
Thanks, Philip. Governor Ralph Northam issued a joint statement with Virginia House Speaker and Senate Majority Leader on the abolition of the death penalty, reaching its final passage in the Virginia House and Senate. Both houses of the General Assembly approved legislation to end capital punishment, also known as Virginia House Bill 2263. Virginia will be the first southern state and 23rd state overall in the U.S. to officially end the implementation of the death penalty. According to the joint statement Governor Northam issued yesterday, Virginia has executed more people than any other state. Northam said that the passing of this law is vital for the criminal justice system in operating fairly and for punishments to be equitable. The governor firmly believes that the death penalty is opposite of that and described the capital punishment as inequitable, ineffective, and inhumane. Virginia has also launched Vaccinate Virginia, a new way for citizens to easily pre-register for the COVID-19 vaccine. The new system brought together processes from local health departments into one centralized system where Virginians can pre-register for the vaccine, receive confirmation of their status on the wait list, or simply learn more about the state's vaccination program. Vaccinate Virginia is available on 2 platforms, online at vaccinate.virginia.gov, or for those who would rather speak to a person for assistance, they can call 1-877-VAX in Virginia. That's 1-877-VAXINVA. Here's Governor Northam introducing how easy it is to use the website.
Now, let's say you want to pre-register. You click the blue button in the middle that says pre-registration. It will take you to this page where you can check your registration status or click sign up to get to the pre-registration form. Here's the form you'll fill out. When you're done, you'll get a confirmation. This new system will provide functionality we have all been asking for.
Now, those who have already pre-registered with their local health departments, they don't need to register again online, as they are currently integrating the data into one new system. So far, over 12% of Virginia's citizens have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, but current demand greatly exceeds the supply available. So Governor Northam says that it will take still a few months to reach everyone who wants the vaccine, but with this new tool, Virginians can pre-register and simply wait to be notified through their preference of phone, email, or text. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, EJ, and thank you for that report there on those updates there from Virginia. Normally you're here to give us some updates on sports, and I know you're the sports guy. So, is there anything, any local updates you have there on the major sports teams?
Yeah, sure do. So there was an exciting game last night, indeed. I think we have a couple correspondents here from LA, but I stayed up late last night finishing the game where our local team, the Washington Wizards, took on the defending champions of the Los Angeles Lakers. And it was an up and down battle that went into overtime. I stayed up because of it, but at the end, the Wizards overcame a 17-point deficit to beat LeBron James and the Lakers. Washington's star backcourt duo of Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook took over late game, finished with over 30 points each, and now the Wizards on a 5-game winning streak. They take on the Los Angeles Clippers later tonight. And there are also several reports circulating that Amazon's previous CEO, Jeff Bezos, is allegedly interested in becoming an owner of an NFL team and is eyeing the Washington football team. And apparently that the Washington football team will be keeping that name up until 2022. So far, there are no indications of current owner Dan Snyder letting up and selling the team, but that's the buzz around the DMV.
That is a lot of buzz, EJ. So thank you so much for keeping us updated, and we'll look forward to catching up with you in your favorite banana bread here at the end of the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Philip.
Now we'll head to Las Vegas, where the housing market is soaring despite Nevada's uphill battle with unemployment. In Las Vegas, Brian Sanson joins us this evening and tells us how this is possible. Brian.
Thank you, Philip. At the beginning of the pandemic, many talked about a possible housing market crash in Las Vegas, especially with its economy relying heavily on hospitality and tourism, which are the hardest hit when we talk about unemployment rate. During the peak of the pandemic, Las Vegas hit a record high of unemployment rate at over 34%. And it continues to be a real struggle. Of the 51 metropolitan areas with a 2010 census population of 1 million or more, Las Vegas, Henderson, and Paradise region in Nevada had the highest unemployment rate in December with 10.4%. And while all 51 large areas had over the year unemployment rate increases, the largest gain was also in Las Vegas, Henderson, Paradise regions in Nevada at 6.9%. according to the U.S. Department of Labor Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, despite the unemployment rate, however, financial experts are saying the U.S. housing market exceeded expectations in 2020. U.S. home price housing market index was up 9.2% in December from a year earlier, the largest annual gain in more than 6 years, fueled by low inventory and attractive low interest rates, according to a report from CoreLogic. Now, the same report says Las Vegas, Henderson, Paradise, Nevada is one of the 10 select metropolitan areas not only surpassing its December 2019 level, but overall had a 7.4% gain year over year. Low housing inventory is true here in Las Vegas. According to LasVegasRealtor.com, existing and new single-family home inventories are down 21.72% and 8.46% respectively year over year. And because supply is low, the median price for existing and new homes are both up over 7% year over year. $369,500 and $359,000 respectively. Experts are also saying that in addition to low housing inventory, which is the result of most people opting to wait to sell their homes during the pandemic, some people upgraded to bigger homes for more space due to having to work from home or having their kids do distance learning at home. Now, at the same time, many took advantage of the low interest rates, which have been as low as less than 3%. So all these factors drove the increase in home prices. But current home pricing is not at all matching the economy climate in Las Vegas, according to financial experts. And because of that, CoreLogic predicts a drop of 1.6% in Las Vegas home pricing by the end of the year. Now, why is that? Because for one, unemployment makes it hard for some homeowners to make their mortgage payments. And due to rising mortgage delinquencies leading to foreclosures, housing inventory is projected to get a boost in 2021. In addition, foreclosure moratorium and mortgage payment forbearance are set to expire by the end of this year. Loan Performance Insight report released by CoreLogic early February says nearly all U.S. metro areas logged an increase in overall mortgage delinquency rates in November compared with 1 year earlier. Nevada topping the list at second place with a gain of 4.2%. Hawaii came in first at 4.3%, so we're not too far behind. So for those who are looking to buy a home in Las Vegas, experts say there might be a shift to a buyer's market in late 2021. Now, before I let you go, Philip, here's a quick update on the COVID-19 situation here in Nevada. Overall test positivity rate is down to 9.2% as of Monday. Nevada hasn't seen a single digit in positivity rate since early November of 2020, so this is definitely encouraging news. And for COVID-19 vaccinations, the state has administered over 556,000 doses as of Monday, accounting for over 17% of the population being vaccinated, including 5.4% of the population reported as being completely vaccinated. In Las Vegas, I'm Brian Sanson, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Brian. That was definitely interesting there about the housing market. Do you have any other thoughts about why the housing market is doing so well right now in Las Vegas?
Well, for one, Philip, it's pretty affordable, especially compared to high cost of living states like California or New York. There is no state income tax, which is a plus, and we have low property tax compared to those high level of income states like, again, for example, California, New York, Hawaii. I'm actually one of those who took advantage of those low interest rates, Philip, where I bought my first house last December, and I locked in a really good interest rate, which is something that I'm most proud of recently. Philip?
Well, congratulations, Brian, from one fellow new homeowner to another. I'm sure that you will enjoy it. Many more broadcasts coming from your new home, right, Brian?
Yes, more to come, especially with a new studio that I have coming up.
Absolutely. That's what I said. We're buying bigger houses so we can do more things from home. Well, thank you so much. We'll hear more about banana bread from you, I'm sure, here at the end of our show.
I'm excited. Thanks, Philip.
Now, still to come, we'll have stories from our correspondents in Oxnard, Lancaster, and Delano, California. Eagle News America will return in just a moment. Stay with us.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Kung ika'y magiging akin, di ka na muling luluha pa. Pangakong di ka lolokohin ng puso kong nagmamahal.
Hi, ito po si City. Abangan niyo po ako ngayong linggo sa Himig ng Lahi. Alas 8 ng gabi dito lang sa Net 25.
Pangakong ikaw lang ang iibigin magpakailanman.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net 25.
It's time to take one step further and face the impossible. Time to search the unknown and fight for the truth. Time to overcome boundaries and connect the world. It's time for DW News.
This is Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. LA County is demolishing a historic 50-year-old 12-story medical facility to build a restorative care village for the city's vulnerable residents. In Oxnard, AJ Capistrano has the details. AJ?
Thank you, Philip. Like you said, the 50-year-old Women's and Children's Hospital on the LAC USC Medical Center is currently undergoing demolition. The construction crew removed the historical front plaque of the 12-story building and the time capsule that was placed behind it. The tearing down of this hospital will pave the way to the development and construction of the Restorative Care Village, which includes a new psychiatric healthcare facility to serve the vulnerable residents of Los Angeles County, including those with mental illnesses, suffering with substance abuse, and victims of violence and abuse. The Women's and Children's Hospital was constructed around the 1950s, but has been left empty and untouched since the 1994 Northridge earthquake. After the earthquake, the building was assessed as non-compliant to building codes and would need extensive work done. In September of 2018, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors approved the proposed plans for the demolition. Just a year later, in November 2019, the board approved of the funding of $68.4 million to construct the first phase of the Restorative Care Village in its place. Demolition began in early 2020 and continues this year. In Oxnard, California, AJ Capistrano, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, AJ. Now, can you expand a little bit on the vision of Los Angeles County in constructing a healthy village like this?
Yeah, definitely. So Los Angeles County is, continually facing key problems in the county in addition to the pandemic. Some of these things include the homelessness issue, worsening poverty level, and rising unemployment. And in turn, these affect the health and well-being of the population, especially those who are vulnerable. So the Restorative Care Village is envisioned to be the first mental health and wellness campus tackling these concerns, as well as meeting the residents' complicated needs. It will be a fully functioning campus, complete with a psychiatric facility that offers recuperative care, bridge housing, other supportive services, and even a sobering center to help those with addiction. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, AJ. That definitely sounds like that's something that will be of good help for the people there. So Glad to hear that update. And thank you so much for joining us. Like everyone else, we're looking forward to your thoughts on banana bread here at the end of the show.
I have some thoughts. I'll share.
Thank you, Jen. Meanwhile, small businesses and nonprofits in LA County are to be given free personal protective equipment, or PPE. Yes, free PPE. In Lancaster, Julianne Simbulan has the report. Julianne?
Thank you, Philip. Small businesses and nonprofit organizations in Los Angeles County with less than 100 employees are now eligible to receive free personal protective equipment through PPE Unite. Those who operate a small business or nonprofit organization and have less than 100 workers can sign up to receive a free 30-day supply of PPEs to assist in maintaining daily business operations in compliance with public health orders while keeping employees safe from COVID-19. Free PPEs include face masks, face shields, and hand sanitizers. They are all funded by the CARES Act through the state of California. To avail of these free PPE supplies, business owners must register at PPEUnite.org. PPE Unite is a collaboration among state, local, and private sectors to provide PPEs to small businesses to help them in their road to recovery while encouraging public health and safety. After signing up at the specified website, small business employers will then schedule appointment times based on their availability to pick up the items, all contactless. To be qualified for this program, the business must be situated in Los Angeles County with under 100 workers employed in either a sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability corporation, C or S corporation, microbusiness, or nonprofit organization. In Lancaster, California, Julianne Simbulan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Julianne. Now, I'm just curious, I know it is a little bit hopeful that the pandemic will be over in 30 days, but assuming that we probably have a little bit longer to go, what will these small businesses do if they signed up for the program and they've already used up their 30-day supply? Will they be able to apply for more?
So, Philip, PPE Unite will only permit small businesses to sign once for this free offer. So by doing so, they will be able to also ensure that many small business owners will be able to avail of this free program. Supplies are not limitless and eventually will run out. So PPEs will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis, so it is best to sign up as quickly as possible. With the rising costs of purchasing face masks, face shields, and hand sanitizers, this is a free program worth looking into if you own a small business. Back to you, Philip.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that report, Julianne. We'll look forward to seeing you here at the end of the show.
Thank you.
In an effort to continue reaching out to Angelenos, the city is extending its drive-up food distribution through the end of April this year. In Delano, Eagle News correspondent Julianne Fiesta has the details. Julianne?
Thank you, Philip. Although Los Angeles County has seen a significant decrease in COVID-19 cases, many Angelenos who have been negatively impacted financially still find themselves struggling. Thankfully, with various outreach programs in place, residents are provided resources to help aid them through these unprecedented times. Through the end of April this year, drive-up food distribution events hosted by Los Angeles County will be extended to provide support and additional resources to those facing food insecurity during this time. 211 LA is the, quote, hub for community members, including organizations, searching for all kinds of health, human, and social service throughout Los Angeles and connects them to information regarding these services to meet their needs. It is a 24-hour 211 call line and also website with chat capabilities. The goal of 211 LA is to bridge people to services in their communities for Angelenos to get the assistance needed to, quote, survive, thrive, and be empowered despite their cultural background and financial situation in life. 211 LA has also recently partnered with Slingshot Aerospace for a mapping tool that will permit Angelenos to locate food resources in their surrounding area, giving detailed information on the resources and how to access this. This is a great help to those who have financial hardship in securing food items and those with special medical needs. Families and individuals are encouraged to look into CalFresh. California's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, as they give debit cards to purchase food items at grocery stores, including farmers markets and restaurants. In Delano, California, Julian Fiesta, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Julianne. That sounds like some great services that are being provided there. Are there any other programs that 211 LA provides to Angelenos?
Yes, Philip. An additional program and resource offered by 211 LA is their Winter Shelter Program. This is conducted every year to assist Angelenos who are homeless during the colder months. Winter shelters can be found throughout Los Angeles County and operates 24 hours a day until the end of March. There is also an information hotline for this program, and individuals can call 1-800-548-6047 for more information. Philip?
Thanks, Julianne, for that great report, and we'll look forward to catching up with you here in just a few minutes.
Can't wait.
Now, up next, reports from Corpus Christi, Texas, Union Township, New Jersey, and Nyack, New York, plus what you've all been waiting for, tonight's roundtable discussion about the unofficial homemade bread of the pandemic, banana bread. Stay tuned. Eagle News America will be right back.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Princess Velasco, abangan niyo ako ngayong linggo sa Himig ng Lahi, alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25.
It's time to take one step further and face the impossible. Time to search the unknown and fight for the truth. Time to overcome boundaries and connect the world. It's time for DW News.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. We have several stories from the Lone Star State tonight. 31 Texas counties have been added to the president's major disaster declaration, and more from Bureau Chief Jane Kathleen Gregorio in Corpus Christi. Okay.
Thank you, Philip, and howdy from the Lone Star State. It's been a pretty rough February for Texans. On Monday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has approved 31 more Texas counties to be added to the president's major disaster declaration for individual assistance. Originally, on February 13th, Governor Abbott had requested individual assistance for all 254 Texas counties. And on Saturday, the White House gave a partial approval for individual assistance in 77 counties and public assistance for emergency protective measures only in all 254 counties. Governor Abbott mentioned that the additional 31 counties additional counties will continue to be re-requested as the state receives more information regarding individuals who have suffered damage from the winter storm. Residents are urged to fill out the Texas Division of Emergency Management's Texas Individual Assistance Reporting Tool to help the state identify damages that qualify for federal assistance. On Tuesday, the governor issued a statement on the resignation of the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, board members, including the chairman and vice chairman. Governor Abbott stated, when Texans were in desperate need of electricity, ERCOT failed to do its job, and Texans were left shivering in their homes without power. ERCOT leadership made assurances that Texas power infrastructure was prepared for the winter storm, but those assurances proved to be devastatingly false. The lack of preparedness and transparency at ERCOT is unacceptable, and I welcome these resignations. The state of Texas will continue to investigate ERCOT and uncover the full picture of what went wrong, and we will ensure that the disastrous events of last week are never repeated. As a result of the power outage issues, Texas residents have reported huge spikes in their energy bills. Over the weekend, Governor Abbott held an emergency meeting with lawmakers to address these spikes and to move quickly to alleviate the problem to ensure Texas families do not get stuck with skyrocketing energy bills. During his press conference in San Antonio on Sunday, Governor Abbott mentioned that the legislature are taking action to calculate the cost of these bills and find ways that the state can help reduce this burden. He declared that the Public Utility Commission has issued a moratorium on customer disconnections due to non-payment and will temporarily restrict electricity providers from issuing invoices. This pause is to give the state time to find a solution for Texas. In fact, this Wednesday, February 24th, the governor will deliver a televised statewide address to discuss the power outages and the state's ongoing recovery response to the winter storm. Meanwhile, I hope you are staying safe in your part of the world. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Jane. And, I'm just curious, with the severe winter weather there, I've heard, I've got friends in Texas. My Facebook feed has been full of pipes bursting. I imagine that's actually a lot of plumbers that might be needed right now. Well, what can you tell us about that?
Philip, as a matter of fact, this is a great opportunity for plumbers to get some business, especially with many of, like you said, the Texas residents filing claims regarding damages to their pipes because of the winter weather. As a matter of fact, Governor Abbott and the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners are opening the doors for more licensed plumbers. Just today, the board identified an additional 500 licensees capable of performing plumbing under general supervision. In fact, Governor Abbott stated, we will continue to cut red tape and ensure that Texans have access to the resources they need to quickly repair their homes and put our state on a path to recovery. Philip?
Well, thank you so much, Jane, for that report tonight. We're looking forward to hearing your banana bread stories or recipes here in just a few moments.
Thank you, Philip.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy delivers fiscal year 2022 budget address, saying it will be for an economy that is for every family in the state. In Union Township, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez files this report.
Thanks, Philip. On Tuesday, Governor Murphy once more spoke in an empty theater to deliver the fiscal year 2022 budget address. Here's Governor Murphy at the address. Let's take a look.
This budget lives up to our stronger and fairer mission. Stronger to come out of the pandemic with an economy that works for every New Jersey family. And fairer to help families and small businesses hit hard and left behind in the pandemic's brutal wake. This budget will continue to stabilize property taxes for hardworking families. This budget will continue the hard work of moving forward, not only from the pandemic, but from years of neglect. Our problems weren't created overnight, and frankly, they won't be fixed overnight. But I know that brighter days lay ahead. This budget is built to meet the needs of our residents for more affordable and accessible health care, of our kids for a world-class education from pre-K all the way to a solid career, and of our communities to have more inclusive and affordable housing options. This budget is built to spark New Jersey's recovery by creating more good-paying jobs and getting our economy moving again, by supporting the small businesses that were hit hardest and investing in companies that can create the jobs of tomorrow, especially in the clean energy industry that will literally power our future. By building world-class roads and rail service networks, the biggest investments in infrastructure in New Jersey's history. And by modernizing state government itself.
Governor Murphy also added that our restaurants can serve more patrons and our houses of worship can welcome more congregants. And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 2,516 new positive PCR tests, pushing the total to 687,386. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 104 new COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 20,689 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Phil.
February 23 is National Banana Bread Day. In the past year, confined to stay at home because of COVID-19 pandemic safety protocols, a lot of us found baking very therapeutic. In fact, banana bread has been the star of the kitchen, being dubbed the unofficial favorite homemade bread of the pandemic. Maybe one, because its ingredients are easy to find, two, because it's very easy to make, and three, it's fun to add an ingredient or two to give it a twist. Whatever the reason is, banana bread has been a household name this past year for many of us. So tonight for our virtual roundtable, we'll talk about that experience we all have. You buy some bananas, you blink, and the next thing you know, it's time for banana bread. So in our roundtable, we just want to know what's your favorite version or variety of banana bread? Why don't we start with EJ there in Alexandria. What can you tell us about your favorite banana bread?
Sure. So when my wife makes it, she splits it. She puts chocolate chips on one half, and I like to crunch on something. So I like walnuts or any nuts on one side. So she'll put all the nuts on one side and with chocolate chips, because I also like chocolate chips. But that's how she'll split it, one without walnuts for her, and then the other half with walnuts and chocolate chips. So yeah, that's how I like it.
So adding a little chocolate and a little crunch. AJ, what about you? What's your favorite variant of banana bread?
So my mom has recently become an experimental baker. And a couple of weeks ago, she infused crunchy peanut butter and strawberry jelly. So it was a peanut butter and jelly and banana bread. It was so good.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
I'll send you all the recipe.
I was going to say, I think that sounds like something we need to have a special feature on, maybe on Digital Nest or something.
Yeah, I'll ask her.
And I saw, while you were describing that, I saw Julian Fiesta over there really nodding her head. It sounded good. Julian, what can you share about your favorite banana bread?
Okay, so we all know, if you're here with us often, that I am very, very bad at cooking or baking, all of that stuff. So banana bread it's a lot easier than a lot of other things. And one recipe that me and my sister do, it's a roasted banana dark chocolate bread. And roast is one step away from burnt, so that's great for me. So you're supposed to do the roasted banana with brown sugar, and then you add the dark chocolate, and it is amazing. You add spices like cinnamon, and even someone as bad at me at cooking can't mess that up.
I was going to say that sounds pretty. There's another one. I think we're going to need to have. I'm going to let our producer know. We're going to need a whole show on banana bread. Brian, what about in Las Vegas? What kind of banana bread makes you go bananas?
Yeah, the banana bread that makes me go bananas. Just to leave a quick comment, I think we're trying to top each other on how much more sugar, how much sweeter we can make our banana bread. So I'm going to take it a notch above the rest of us. Yeah, so chocolate banana bread with caramelized banana slices, some broken down like banana sauce. And then after that, I put on some walnuts like what EJ mentioned earlier. I myself like to add a little bit of crunch as well. And yeah, that will probably knock me out for the night because of how much sugar and how much, calories are going to be in that. But definitely a treat that I won't regret eating.
So I'm just curious, I guess both for you and Julianne, how do you roast a banana and how do you caramelize a banana, and how do you roast a banana but not caramelize it? Because I'm thinking it's going to be a similar outcome, in my mind at least.
Well, I burned the banana. So I don't know how. It's roasted, kind of. It's, I guess, kind of like a skewer-ish type thing. That's how we roast it. I don't know how to caramelize a banana, so I'll throw it over to you, Brian.
I think, the simplest way for you to do it is just put it over a stovetop and, again, make sure that it doesn't get burned, and then just let the banana do its thing. You can either do that or you can put it in an oven too. I haven't tried burnt bananas, but I'll take your word for it. Or it's almost
not supposed to be burned, trust me.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try one day.
It all sounds good. Let's get to our next good banana bread variety. Julianne, what can you share with us?
Everybody here is so creative with their banana bread. I didn't know you could add all of those things in your banana bread. That's why my preference is kind of simplistic. I just prefer walnuts in my banana bread, but maybe I should broaden my horizons regarding banana bread. I didn't even know you could add chocolate chips in it, but yeah, I just prefer.
But you know what? Sometimes traditional, simple, it does the trick, right? Now, I know everything is bigger in Texas, so Jane Kathleen is going to have an awesomely grand banana bread variety to share. Jane Kathleen, what can you share with us?
Well, my version is probably just as simple as Julianne's. It's definitely, I love having a crunch like AJ and EJ mentioned. Now, Julianne and Brian brought it to another level by going up on the sweetness of the banana bread. So for me, Philip, I like having a walnut banana bread that I can slice and make into a grilled cheese sandwich. You know why? Because you have the sweetness of the banana bread, but when you put like sharp cheddar cheese with it and like make it like a sandwich and fry it with like sweet cream butter, oh my gosh, it's like you have the creaminess, the sweetness, and the saltiness. So it's like a contrast of flavors, but very complementary. Philip?
Well, thank you for that. And I know the grid view wasn't up during that, so you couldn't see everybody go.
Yeah,
I think we have a winner. That, so, thank you so much to everyone for your time tonight and sharing with us your banana bread varieties. Hopefully that's inspired all of you at home, to do something more creative with your banana bread next. But before we go, we have to do this every time because our first responders, our healthcare workers, our frontline and essential workers, you're doing so much to help us all through this pandemic so we can make this banana bread. So we want to give a big salute and a round of applause to thank you so much for all that you do. We truly appreciate you. Well, that wraps up tonight's Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo. We live in interesting times.